And we're back.
I know I could stand here and talk about South by forever, but perhaps not as long as a couple sneak peekers.
That's right. I did the math, and between our sneak peekers, Robbie, Hunter, AK, and Chris, they spent over 100 hours watching movies at South by Southwest in 1 week.
And that doesn't even count all the time waiting in lines. I'm sure they're desperate to give all their opinions on their festival favorites.
Definitely. Enough of my silly little face. Let's throw it to y'all.
What's up, sneak peekers? I'm here with AK, Robbie, and Chris, and I'm Hunter. We're going to talk about some of the movies we saw at South by last week. So I think just to get us started, we can talk about the opening night film, one of the biggest movies that played at South by, Dungeons and Dragons. I think we all got to see it. Thoughts?
It's a real fun time, you know. Chris Pine, he did the thing, and we got to see him in his green velvet suit with about 2 buttons, I'd say unbuttoned at the top. That was pretty cool, you know.
Looking good, looking good. I had a lot of fun. I love fantasy stuff, and so it was just a fun time to just have an incredibly fun take on fantasy. And I'm a huge Regé-Jean Page girl, and he was looking fine in the movie and on the red carpet, so I will not complain.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I was actually volunteering whenever Dungeons and Dragons was playing, but I did get to talk to a lot of people like in line and to see what their thoughts were. And I also got to see Chris Pine on the carpet. His outfit was really, really nice.
I know, right? It was so
The
cool.
boys were looking good.
Yeah, everybody looked fantastic. The entire cast was there. I did get to wash my hands next to Chris Pine in the bathroom, and so that was fun. But the movie itself, I thought was very enjoyable. I thought Hugh Grant was great as the villain. I wish he could have been there in person. And just overall, it was a great film to kick off South by. High energy, high action. The crowd loved it. So now everybody can just go around and say one of their favorites. AK, let's start with you.
Definitely Bottoms. I went and saw it twice. It was just that good and that funny, and the crowd was just great both times. And I don't know, it's definitely going to be a cult classic for years to come. I'm really glad I got to see it.
Absolutely. Bottoms was very funny, and the more I think about it, the more I like it. There's layers of jokes, there's meta humor in there, there's things like written on whiteboards that's funny that you'll definitely need to see again. And so the more I think about Bottoms, the more I like it. Robbie, what'd you think?
Oh, for sure. Like, if you just take Booksmart, just turn it up for like 100, and then you get Bottoms. It's just like they're like fighting, they're like trying to have some fun with their fellow cheerleaders and such. And I also saw Emma Seligman and Havana Rose Liu another time. Got a picture of them. That was pretty cool. They're cool people.
They were both so sweet. I feel like a lot of sneak peekers got to meet the both of them, and they were awesome.
Lovely people, and getting like everyone seeing them at like different. I was like, it was so cool. But yeah, no, it was that movie was just like unforgivably raunchy and dirty, and I kind of love it for that. You know, you don't get to see people just be like just that intentionally vulgar. I'm just like, I kind of vibe with it. Like at some points it was a little bit too much, but it was definitely a huge highlight for me.
Yeah. Chris, what about you? What was one of your favorites of the festival?
So second off would probably be, because number one was Bottoms for me, but second favorite would probably be Problemista. I'm a little bit biased because me and the director, Julio Torres, we both come from the same country, so I'm kind of just like represent for that. But I thought it was a really well-written story, and I liked a lot of the creativeness that he used for like the more boring parts, like the phone calls and like whenever he would search online, those parts were really interesting to look at, and it was just it was a nice, simple story that took a lot of creative liberties.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really enjoyed Problemista. I love getting to talk to the cast on the carpet. I think Julio is a genius. And I thought the film was just so creative, so fun. I love the when he's trying to escape the maze and he keeps like climbing up the stairs. I love the way they use shapes. It's just a really creative movie like nothing I've ever seen.
I love the way that Julio Torres walks in that movie. Like one of my favorite little moments in that film. Anytime there's a shot of him walking, just a little bounce. It's such a good character choice.
I love the soundtrack too. Everyone really was really creative too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Robbie, a favorite of South by?
Ooh, this is a tough one, Hunter. There are so many good ones. I'm just gonna shout out John Wick Chapter 4. Yeah, I saw Keanu there. He was in the row right next to me and Ryan. We just look over every now and then. He was either laughing or crying. And it was just such a joy. Just the action was like top notch. It was like it goes far beyond any of the other movies. And it's like a long one, like 2 hours 45 minutes. But there's no filler. It's this non-stop roller coaster, and it keeps escalating and escalating, and also de-escalating because he falls down a lot, down many stairs. And there's this one part where like he fell down, and someone in the audience was like, "Get up love Keanu!" And then everyone like cheered as he got up, and it was so magical.
Oh, that sounds incredible. I'm really can't wait to see the film. Sad I missed it at South by.
I missed it as well.
Yeah.
But my favorite of the festival, we already talked about Bottom, starring the wonderful Rachel Sennett. But I'm going to take a moment to talk about her other film at the festival, I Used to Be Funny, which just completely floored me. It blew me away. We know Rachel as a comedic actress, and in this film, she plays a comedian, but a comedian who's been through some serious trauma, and so we get to see her play a dramatic side, and she absolutely knocks it out of the park. She just confirms what so many of us already knew, which is that she's one of the best actresses of our generation. And she's so talented and so brilliant. And Ali Pankiao, the director, so wonderfully balances the comedy and the really heavy moments. The choice to tell the story non-linearly really works for it and makes it a fully encompassing experience that just took it all out of me. I love that film.
Yeah, if you need another reason to cry to Phoebe Bridgers, go see I Used to Be Funny, because the needle drops in that film were just amazing. It's all female and non-binary artists, and it shows. It's amazing. Yeah, it was devastating leaving that theater, though. I remember walking out, and it was like sunny outside, and I was like, I feel like I should still be in the dark. But Rachel Sennett is just absolutely just a talent and a force.
Yeah, it's one you need to sit with for a little bit for sure. Did y'all get a chance to catch it?
I was dying to see it. It was my number one regret not seeing that one, because like it is all the things all the screenings just keep conflicting in my schedule. And then it got even worse because there was this one thing, I was kind of like debating if I see Americana or I Used to Be Funny, and I chose Americana, and it was good, but I think I Used to Be Funny is probably a bit better. So I wish I'd seen that instead.
Yeah, I got a chance to catch Americana. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was really funny. Directorial debut of Tony Toast. I thought he did really well. He seems like a wonderful dude. Paul Walter Hauser, always super fun to watch. The child actor in the movie, I don't know his name. I wish I did. He's a standout. Very funny. In Americana, but I think I like I Used to Be Funny more, but Americana also super funny. You should check it out. It's just a real enjoyable film that turns it up to a 15 in the third act. It just turns it in a whole nother direction. So we started talking about D&D. Then the ending film was probably the other biggest one, Air. Ben Affleck's Air was the surprise closing screening. We had Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Jason Bateman, Chris Tucker, Viola Davis, the Woman King herself, was in the room.
She was in the room.
And so it was just truly an incredible experience. I was a massive Batfleck fan, I'll admit it. I'm a huge Ben Affleck fan. I've seen him be very depressed in most things on social media for going on a decade now. And so getting to see him walk in the room and introduce Air with so much joy, and the fact that he actually seemed happy, and once I saw the film, I fully understood it. He really knocks it out of the park with Air. It is a crisp, well-directed, extremely well-acted film. I think Viola will score an Oscar nomination for it. You can take your dad, you can take your mom when it's in the theater. Parents are going to love it. What do you think, Robbie?
Oh, for sure. It's definitely a movie for the dads out there. So if you like movies and if you have a dad, take your dad to this movie. The dad will watch it and become all-powerful dad energy, he'll escalate and ascend into daddom.
Okay, 20 seconds each. Shout out one more movie or show you liked.
I really liked Beef. I just like how both of them were just unexcessively rude to each other, and I wish I had that much strength to hold a grudge.
Robbie.
Theater Camp. I premiered at Sundance. I saw it here. It was great.
Annika.
If You Were the Last, the chemistry is unbelievable, and I love just a sweet, silly, weird little rom-com.
Late Night with the Devil, starring David Dastmalchian. Brilliant, funny, scary film. Check it out. That was South by Southwest. There's so much more we didn't even get to talk about, but I'll see you next week, sneak peekers.